let's go into what Andy Burnham did in Manchester. Now, this is in the public domain. This is stuff that circulates around online, some of which is verified, some of which there's various opinions on, as is the nature of the modern world. I don't trust the mainstream media to verify sources at all. So this is more stuff that's not being community noted on Twitter and X because it comes from verified sources. So just to caveat that, this isn't our opinions. So what's Andy Burnham's track record? He was the mayor of Manchester. What did he achieve and what happened? So the Manchester model, what it actually looks like up close. There's going to be a bit of reading here, but it's worth listening to understand who he is. Andy Burnham is asking the country to trust him with Downing Street on the strength of what he calls the Manchester model. 8 years of integrated public services and progressive governance that he says Britain should adopt nationally. Before the country decides, it should know what that model actually produced. So start with the money. £578 million in public money was lent by Burnham's Greater Manchester Combined Authority to a single developer, property developer, Darren Whittaker of Renaker. And for anyone who doesn't know, if you're in the Northeast, you know who Renaker are because they are a massive developer that built a lot of the sort of super high skyscrapers in Manchester. A tribunal found that GMCA failed to obtain a statement of assets and liabilities from Whittaker before lending, exposing taxpayers to a risk the tribunal described as potentially wiping out the public funds. A meeting between a senior GMCA officer and Whittaker, at which loan terms appear to have been agreed, produced no minutes or notes. Court papers allege Renaker presented high profit figures to the GMCA when seeking loans and low profit figures to the Manchester City Council when seeking exemption from affordable homes requirements. The Court of Appeal is considering judgment on whether the loans were lawful. Out of 11,000 homes built with that public money, 503 are classed as affordable, less than 5%. Whittaker's personal fortune grew from 140 million to 698 million during Burnham's mayoralty. How do you say that? The luxury towers were marketed to Chinese buy-to-let investors through Hong Kong estate agents. Hundreds of flats have been sold to Asian investors, according to Telegraph analysis of Companies House filings, as is true for quite a lot of developments that happen around the country these days, sold off plan to foreign interests. Now, the transparency. In April 2026, the Information Commissioner issued a practice recommendation to the GCMA for failing to publish Freedom of Information compliance statistics. Greater Manchester Police, under Burnham's authority as Police and Crime Commissioner, was separately issued with the ICO enforcement notice for 850 overdue FOIA requests. So that's Freedom of Information, which is where members of the public and journalists can request information from the government in the interest of transparency for what happens within government for the public good. And more than 800 over 6 months old. The oldest had been waiting 2.5 years. That is an infringement on our democracy. That's crazy. So now the politics. Labour's candidate to replace Burnham as mayor is Bev Craig, leader of Manchester City Council, the body that accepted Renaker's low profit figures and granted the affordable homes exemption. The mayoral by-election on the 30th of July will be fought under the supplementary vote system rushed through the Lords 2 days before Burnham's Makerfield victory, designed to consolidate left-of-centre second preferences and lock out reform. 108 Labour councillors lost their seats in Greater Manchester in May's local elections. The region Burnham governed for 8 years delivered the most devastating local election result in Labour's history. This is the Manchester model. These are its documented facts. The country is being asked to implement it nationally. It should read the small print first. Bev Craig, Labour's candidate to replace Burnham, leader of the council that granted Renaker's affordable homes exemption. And then just one more thing, just to see the current swap rates in the UK, which do determine mortgage rates. So the UK swap rate, the benchmark for fixed rate mortgages, are currently sitting at roughly 4.1 to 4.4% across 2-year and 5-year terms. And what this means for you is the swap rates reflect market expectations for the Bank of England base rate. They directly dictate the fixed mortgage rates lenders can offer. Fixed mortgages, 2-year and 5-year fixed deals are currently starting around 4.4 to 4.5%. And the market stability with the base rate that was just recently held at 3.75%. So swap rates have remained fairly flat since spring, even though they dropped rapidly earlier in the year, but it's looking like they're going to stabilize now. That's it in terms of like information to look at. But as you can see, the corruption and the sheer like lies to the public, and there are this honestly, this Andy Burnham is like a fucking sinister character. He's come out publicly and outright denied things, particularly to do with the rape scandals that happened up in Manchester. Literally, as if he said he had no idea about them. Then there was videos of him in 2021 in a chamber with the public talking about exactly the rape scandals and him outright denying things at the time, refusing to answer questions of the public. And you've got people raging in that council chamber. We just got an outright liar, like who's, and this is his track record of publicly documented facts. How on earth is he capable of standing? You know, it's kind of like the Mandelson stuff. It's like, how on earth was this person allowed in? It is just corruption from the state at like, well, what is the highest level as PM? What do you guys think of that? Obviously, touching on our domain with Renica, the developer.
Everyone's got skeleton in the closets, haven't they? But it's how bad that skeleton is.
Yeah,
but there's skeletons, and then there's like,
I mean, if you compare him to Boris Johnson, he put a whoopee cushion underneath someone's chair once. So this is pretty serious stuff.
Yeah,
it sounds like he'll fit right in at Westminster. Yeah, who knows, mate? I just can't believe he can just lead the party.
Imagine how hard it is for us to get lending from a bank, and you got a developer who can work with the mayor. Go, all right, mate. No, I'm not going to show you an A&L statement, but we make lots of profit, and then lend them £600 million of public money, our money, 600 million, and then they go to the other part of the council and go, or the other part of the public authority and go, we don't make enough profit. We're going to, no affordable homes, please. And then, we'll just pass that. And then what happens is Andy Burnham moves to PM. Bev Craig gets her promotion to mayor. It's in our face of going, we're all of you. It's just in our face.
To put it into context for Renica, 600 million funding is 2.5 years of their turnover. A turnover about 260 million a year.
Yeah.
Imagine if you just got 2.5x your revenue in funding.
On the most favourable terms you could ever get out of taxpayer pocket. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's actually just like crazy.
I think we should nickname him Burnham Beaches.
I don't, but I used to live in Burnham Beaches, mate. Burnham Beaches is a nice little place. But yeah, so that's the current state of things. Like, I would strongly suggest people go like to Twitter and go and look at, or on X, and go and look at credible sources about Andy Burnham, about the Makerfield by-election and what Labour do to try and suppress things, working in collusion with the BBC as well, like not allowing Restore any airtime or anything like that. Like, it's, and how they're trying to squash reform out of all of these votes. And it's just like, man, it's just like feels like we're in such an oppressive place. I don't know if you guys feel that. I just feel like we've completely lost our like a democracy. Like it's just gone. And how do we get it back? You know,
it's pretty depressing, isn't it?